Today I'm going to show you how to tell if a plant is safe to eat. Now some things to remember before we start. Always wash any plant you plan on eating to get rid of things like bugs or dirt that might be on the plant. Also, be aware of where you pick the plant, because some plants sit in areas that are sprayed with pesticide, or they could be in contaminated water. Plants soak up their environment, so it's good to be aware of where the plant was before you select it for testing. Also, remember that some edible plants have poisonous plant lookalikes. So if you notice anything like milky or discolored sap, an almond scent in the woody parts of leaves, or a three-leaf growth pattern, it's probably poisonous. A good rule to remember this by that I read on peaksurvival.com is called the Rule of 3. Leaves of 3, let it be. Plants such as poison ivy, which exhibits trait, are almost always poisonous. You can visit poisoncontrolcenter.org, poisonous plants links, for a list of complete poisonous plants in your area and what to do if you accidentally eat them. So how do you know if a plant is safe to eat? The only way to be 100% sure is to do a universal edibility test. It has 6 steps. Some information to remember before we start. If you experience any adverse reactions during any of these processes, stop the test immediately and start over with a new part of the plant. Also, you want to fast 8 hours before you start the test to ensure that any reactions come from the plant you're testing and not anything you ate before. So the first step of this process is to separate your plant into its 5 basic parts: the flowers, leaves, buds, roots, and stems. Then you're going to select one part of the plant to test. Some plants have both poisonous and edible parts, so you want to do this process for each part of the plant and not assume just because the buds pass the plant test that the whole plant is edible. The second step of the test is to take the part you selected and crush it and rub it on your wrist or elbow for 15 minutes. This is a skin contact test, which tests for a reaction to your skin before the plant ever enters your mouth. You need to wait 8 hours. If no reaction occurs, you can move on to the third step of the process, which is cooking. You want to boil the plant, or you can test it raw, but you want to prepare it in the way you plan on eating it after doing the test. So whether you boil it or if you're going raw, afterwards you hold it to your lips for 3 minutes. The reason we do this is it's a second skin contact test because crushing the plant or cooking it can release additional toxins. So you want to hold it to your lips for 3 minutes to test for another skin reaction. If nothing happens, you can move on to the fourth step, which is taste. You insert the plant part into your mouth and hold it on your tongue for 15 minutes. And remember, just because the plant might taste bad, it doesn't mean it's poisonous. If you do not experience any reaction, you can move on to the fifth step in the process, which is consume. You chew the plant for 15 minutes, but don't swallow. Chewing also releases toxins that crushing or cooking didn't release before. If nothing happens after 15 minutes of chewing, you can swallow it and you need to wait 8 hours. But do not eat anything because this could negate the test results. If you experience any nausea, induce vomiting and drink lots of water. If nothing happens, you can move on to the last step in the process, which is to gather a quarter cup of the tested plant part, eat it, and wait an additional 8 hours. This part of the process is because some plants have both poisonous and edible parts and are best consumed in moderation. Plants such as acorns have a quality called tannin, which impedes digestion and causes upset stomach if you eat too much of it. So this is an important part of the process to tell how much of the plant you can eat. If nothing happens after 8 hours, you can be sure that this part of the plant you tested is safe to eat. Some additional information. You can check out Roger Peterson's Wild Edible Plants Field Guide, which gives you a description of what edible plants look like, their characteristics, how to prepare them, and how to use them. You can find this on textbooks.com for $10. It's just a little copy that gives you background information to be aware of what kind of plants are edible in your area. You can also watch a video called Universal Edibility Test on YouTube by Peak Survival, which gives you different steps. It gives you additional information for the steps and processes that I've shown you today. Another source of information is a handout that I gave you. You can test a plant at home to see whether it's safe to eat. Now you know how to test to see if a plant is safe to eat. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Let me ask ask you all for one question, and then we're going to move on to the next speaker. One question for Kitty? Oh, no questions. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kitty.